chairwoman for the Big Bend Paiute Tribe, and I want to welcome all of you here tonight. All of you members, friends, dignitaries out there, and our working associates, we just want to welcome you tonight to this great event. And just looking at the cases here, you know, it's just really makes my heart happy because it's just so professional and just a lot of hard work, and I really appreciate the work that Bill does around here. Thank you, Bill. For those of you that don't know, Bill's going to be leaving us. He's going to be retiring, so you know, it's a special honor to be here tonight on behalf of Bill. So thank you. But once again, I just want to welcome all of you to tonight's event, and I'm going to turn it over to Bill.
I've got my sabaya, is what this is called. Normal people call it a clapper, non-Indians, but the Paiute word is sabaya. And this one here is made out of elderberry. Came from North Fork, California. And I got to know a lady, she since passed away, but her name was Rosalie Bethel, Western Mono lady, and she gave it to me one time. And these two other elderly ladies said, "Gee, Ross, you didn't have to think about it twice. Well, you glommed onto it real fast." I said, "Yeah, got it before she changes her mind." And it's used when you're singing to kind of mark time. And yeah, I'm very fortunate because this lady was a very well-respected elder over in North Fork. And at the time I asked her if she could sing some songs, which we call cry dance songs over here, a ceremonial song for when somebody passes away. And she said, "Well, we call them powwow songs, but not to be mistaken for the powwow that Indians do these days." And our songs are very similar. And I was so intimidated by her, I never did sing her a song. She did all the singing. But yeah, it was very, very good. I've been up to Harkless Flat and Papoose Flat and Squaw Flat in my days too, and I went up with Jacqueline over here. I was very Forest Service lady. Came away with a different attitude about women because they always find things that I walk right on by, you know, arrowheads and whatnot. And she's good enough to mark it with a flag so we know what we were supposed to look for. But I found some house rings and I felt good about that. Yeah. So my wife would come up here, maybe we'll sing a song or two and let the next person come up. I want to just acknowledge Clayton Sunderville here. He's been monitoring down on Billings Lake for quite a few years and making a lot of money too, I bet. And yeah, okay. We're going to sing what they call Tukini, and that's one of our legends and stories. Tukini is a small hawk. Some refer to him as a bullet hawk or a black hawk. Yes? Kadu. Not unless you want. Okay. She asked me if you would like everybody to stand up, but you can if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want. The song. Dokeni neva paza yurana paza wana. Dokeni neva paza wana paza wana. leaves. I got her aside and I said, hey, what's this Bill Helmer like anyway? She's a typical old person. She says, well, only thing I could say about Bill is he's a straight shooter. That to me was everything was good. So this next song we'll sing is it's what they call a loser song. And it's, oh, Varakache Ayo Wanaya Hatsamaya Nayano Hatsamaya Nayano oh, Varakache Ayo Wanaya oh, Varakache Ayo Wanaya Hatsamaya Nayano Hatsamaya Nayano oh, Varakache Ayo Wanaya oh, Varakache Ayo Wanaya Hatsamaya Nayano Hatsamaya Nayano oh, Varakache Ayo Wanaya oh, Varakache Ayo Wanaya Hatsamaya Nayano Hatsamaya Nayano oh, Varakache Ayo Wanaya. Thank you.
Inani and Jamie Meredith, Uru to Paiute, New Kimari, Iki, Tobo Hamatue, New. These guys are from Big Pine. I come from Benton, and we normally have a language class at this time, so this would be about the time they did their blessing before class. Okay? Do you guys want to introduce yourself?
Maybe to give Jamie and her class a little respect, we'll all stand up.
Say a few words about the exhibit. My name is Bill Helmer, the Tribal Historic Preservation Officer, the Big Pine Paiute Tribe, for 11 years now. So, and like Gina said, it will be retiring, but for all, it's just been a great experience to work here. And my little tiny bit in time, you know, because it's thousands of years back, thousands of years forward. So that goes on, but it really feels good to contribute just a little bit part of that. Thanks. But this exhibit here, which we worked on with lots of people, and Shannon will tell you more later about these beautiful panels and the layout of how we did have it originally, and then it got transformed. Yeah, she's got the eye. But this was an idea when I first came here in 2004 and 2005 with Lynn Reynolds, who I knew before. I knew her since about '97, and so she said, "Why don't we get together and do an exhibit about Papoose Flat?" And I'd never been there, and that's where she and Wally Woofenden, her partner, had worked up there in the early '90s with Marion Zuko and Bertha Moose. And unfortunately, Wally can't be here. He had to attend a fire class, a volunteer fire class. He lives in Squaw Meadows, and his house, luckily, was one of the houses that didn't get burned. But that's why he's at a very important fire class tonight. But hopefully he had a huge amount of input into this. And it's dedicated to Linda Reynolds and her memory and her love and passion for this place, which is kind of hard to get to, but if you ever get a chance, it's an amazing place. It just really hits you in the heart, this place. And so we did this. I got a grant from the Institute of Museum and Library Services, and so I worked with the Culture Committee and Linda to try to figure out how to talk about Papoose Flat and all that went on up there, like Pine Nut Gathering. And then, unfortunately, Linda died in 2012. But Wally was generous enough to take her place in especially with the archaeology and what went on there. So I think right now, that's kind of a little introduction to this, that we can talk about it.
Thank you for coming out. I was very blessed and honored to be a part of this project. Bill and I started talking about this, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and it's just been ongoing, and finally it's done, and I'm very proud of it. We started talking about what we were going to display, and we had the artifacts that you'll see that are displayed in chronological order, and just kind of a description of what kind of activities happened up there at Papoose Flats. Our people used to travel up there and do all the Paiute harvesting, and as you can see, we've also incorporated some of our Paiute language. And thank you, Jamie, and the language class for coming out and doing that blessing. I'm very honored for that. And it was very important to me to use our language. As you can see, it's first. Usually people put it, like, they'll put Papoose Flat, and then they'll put parentheses, Tabukatuni, which means Paiute camp, which is the word we're using, because Papoose Flat was a Paiute camp. So you can see the Paiute words used first versus the English words, and then the Paiute translation. It's very important that we, as Paiute people, start using, or when we start using our language, regardless of how it's spelled. It's just, we need to start sharing and not criticizing each other, but we need to start using it. It's our language. We need to take control of it and share it for our future generations. And that's kind of what this exhibit is about, is sharing our old ways and teaching our youth to carry it on. And it's very important to our people and who we are. We also had some of the hunting artifacts here, which is really interesting because I never knew about that alabal dart and dart thrower. And it's interesting to learn all of this stuff. And then there's a cane whistle here that was preserved in a pack rat storage. And that was really interesting to learn also, that the pack rat, they preserve things in their little mittens. They would pick things up and take them in their little mittens, and that actually preserved. So good for that. And then there's the quartz crystals, which we think were used for medicinal uses, and it's just really a great wealth of knowledge. In the front, you'll see we have these panels. We're like, what are we going to put in there? Well, let's put what people would gather before they would go up to these mountains from our valley. So you'll see all of the plants that are within Toba and were harvested to take up to the valley for their use up there. So it's quite educational, and I was very proud to be a part of it, and thank you, Bill, for all your years of service. You're going to be missed. Bill is a wonderful wealth of knowledge, and I'm sorry to see him go because he has so much, he knows so much about just our Paiute ways, and it's very sad. But thank you to all the contributing. We had the Culture Committee, we had Owens Valley Language Program, how do you say that? Numiata. They provided some of the translation, and then we also referred to some of the manuscripts, and some of those manuscripts were translated by Danelle, who's actually here too. And you can see some of the manuscripts are quoted. Bill had it very wordy, so there's still a lot of content to read, but I got it down to concise as I could. So it is designed for people who are just browsing to look quickly through, and for those to kind of linger and read the more in-depth information. But, thank you for letting me be a part of this, Bill.
Thank you. Maybe we can get just minimize on the talking, and then we could ask questions, be real informal. But the other, I'd like to ask Jackie to come up just a few words about the the collaboration between the Forest Service and the Big Pine Paiute tribe. And these artifacts were from, were collected there years ago on the Inyo National Forest, Papoose Flat.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. I've only been here about a year. Bill's been instrumental, and Ross and Cindy are Big Pine in making me feel at home, so thank you for that. Shortly after I got here, Bill called me up and said, I've got this project I'm working on, and the agreement's about to expire. I need you to renew this agreement. So I'm like, okay. And so he said, I'm almost done. So we renewed the agreement, and that's about the sum total of my involvement with the project, right? And so, I don't know, it was 2 months ago, he calls me up and goes, hey, guess what? The agreement's about to expire again. And I'm like, okay, well, we can renew, because I'm almost done. So, I don't know, about a month ago, he comes in the office, and Shannon, I have to give you a huge credit. Not that your signs weren't wonderful. But he was asking for some critical feedback, and I thought, well, you know, Bill, there's an awful lot of words. So I was trying to be really polite and not too harsh, but you did a good job.
She kept in the chase.
And you know, short of being on the landscape, it's nice that artifacts can be here in a beautiful display and interpreted and have some meaning and resonance for the children and for your community to think about the old ways and have a part of it here in Chambers with you. So, I'm honored. Thank you. And you will be missed.
Just before you get your guacamole, through the sign, just one thing, a lot of words here, but it was really interesting. This goes from left to right, old to new, and Wally Woofenden is a paleoecologist, and so it was interesting that he did pack rat midden studies, because in these big granitic outcroppings, there were some pack rat nests that he dated back to over 7,000 years, 7,500 years ago. And in those areas, there are pinion needles, there's no pinion needles. And the pack rats can only go out about 300 feet and would go out and then they come back to their nest. So that kind of has proven that there were trees, you know, because of climate change, it was cooler, warmer. And the artifacts followed the tree line, the old pinto point, so it's kind of, and it looked like it was associated also with pinion gathering. So that was part of Linda's thesis, that it looks like it goes way back naturally, you know, the pinion gathering and the hunting at the same time when the pinions first came to the area, you know, 7,500 years ago. So just think of that, you know, the whole history of people being there that whole time through all those different climates. But that's what this over here tries to explain, that you can imagine the trees through time coming and going, So